Hello, everybody. Hello from
Hello.
Brussels. Hello, Michael. I see you in Kigali.
Hello from Kigali.
Yeah, we are here at the CEPS Ideas Lab. This is a big conference that we at the Center for European Policy Studies put together every year to discuss the main topics related to the EU and the global order. And one of the key topics that we discussed this year is research and innovation. And there's a big focus on public health. With me is a very distinguished guest. Lisa Gerlitz is the director of the European Office of DSW. It's a German NGO very focused on global health and public health. And in Kigali, we have a fantastic guest, Michael Makanga. Michael, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and the conference that you're attending?
Thank you very much. I'm Michael Makanga. I'm the Executive Director of the Global Health EDCTP3, which is the European and Developing Countries Clinical Trials Partnership, an African-European partnership that is handling the acceleration of medical interventions, developing them through clinical development and making them accessible to the people that need them most, and also contributing to the building of global health security by building the capacities that are necessary to respond to disease outbreaks, epidemics, and pandemics. And there is no better place to talk to you than to at the sidelines of the Africa Health Agenda International Conference that is co-organized by AMREF, the Africa Centers for Disease Control, and the African Regional Office for World Health Organization, because we need to speak to the regional partners when we are implementing our work.
Thank you, Michael. And in this conference in the CEPS Ideas Lab also, we had a session on the new health diplomacy, where we had several distinguished speakers, among them Peter Piot, who's asked for a much deeper relationship with Africa, but also others. We had representatives on the WHO, or the UN Population Fund, and many others that really have seen in the ability of the EU to partner among equals with Africa as a key element. And one of the key topics that we're going to deal with is, can really the EU manage to build a more equitable relationship and more relationship among equals with Africa? And how can this happen? Do we have tools that we can use? Do we have new instruments or new approaches that we can use? You are in the perfect position to guide us on this. What do you think could be done to improve the relationship between the EU and Africa?
Well, there is no better time like now when you look at the geopolitical situation, the funding landscape for the issues that the whole world is facing. And at a time like this, in the framing of the Framework Program 10, which is the largest research and innovation funding instrument from public source, I see that this is an opportune time to look at what really works that will address both the European competitiveness and also address the societal challenges, the global challenges that impact the world, and in particular, looking at global health, the situation of climate change and others, and looking at the instruments that have been in place. For example, the organization that I lead, the Global Health EDCTP3, which is an African-European partnership. One lessons to draw from this is genuine involvement of the partners, especially from the low and middle income countries, right from conception, prioritization, implementation, and uptake of whatever is taken. What I've seen from what we've done so far is the work that has been most impactful is work that really has genuine inclusiveness of the low and middle income partners, where they are taken as equals in the conception, in the decision making, and in the implementation. And this has to be done in a very genuine and respectful way. And I cannot advocate for this more. If there is anything that needs to be done, it is to strengthen that global collaboration and going an extra mile to make sure that the partners are respected and engaged. Listening to what is happening at this conference here, there has been three main components. One is improving the financing of the work that is happening, where the partners are willing to work together. And for this to happen, there has to be incentives And the incentivization has to come in the formulation of the Framework Program 10. The second element is acknowledging the problems, and that is the diseases that are affecting all partners, and here, infectious diseases, interacting with the non-communicable diseases, and these diseases know no borders. They affect the low and middle income countries and the high income countries. And the third part is also looking at the global trajectory. We are having the development of digital technologies and AI. When we are looking at this evolution, to take into account what is happening in the global north and what is happening in the low and middle income countries, especially where we are having a real change in the population in the low and middle income countries that will add real value and impact to the work that is supported through the Framework Program 10.
Thank you very much, Michael. I'm going to turn to Lisa in a second. I just wanted to mention that we actually worked together on this report on FP10, where our proposal is a report that was published by CEPS, is to single out the part of FP10 that will look at multi-stakeholder partnerships for global public goods and make it different and separate from the rules that will govern industrial competitiveness and defense, which become priorities, but will have different governance with different criteria and so on, to really make sure that the EU can embark into multi-stakeholder partnerships and work with other players in the world on an equal basis to pursue global public goods. And Lisa, do you have ideas there? Because I think we need to focus more as the world turns towards defense and security logics and rhetorics. What can we do to ensure that flows continue to be sufficient in terms of money, resources, and attention on global public goods and specifically health?
Yeah, that's a tricky question. Thank you so much also for organizing. I love this format. Michael, it's so great to be connected to you. This is exactly what needs to be happening right now. You know, it's not the time to give up on multilateralism. It's not the time to give up on international collaboration. And I think for the EU to put more focus on global public goods, we need to start by reframing the buzzword of the hour, which is competitiveness. You know, FP10, the research and innovation framework programs of the EU are always funded under the competitiveness budget line. But, you know, a lot of what is happening in the US right now is done under the name of competitiveness or Make America Great Again. But it's very short-sighted vision of competitiveness. And I think if we as Europe want to have a more long-term and more sustainable vision of competitiveness, we can only be competitive if we have still, you know, a clean environment and don't, fall under a lot of crises and disasters in the world that we are creating with our non-sustainable behavior. We also live in a market economy, and that means that, for example, when it comes to health research, the market will do what it's supposed to do where there is a market and where there is a competitive or a commercial angle, but there are just areas where there isn't, and this is where public funding is needed. And I think we need to understand that it's not the responsibility of public funding to come in and fund health research in all sorts of areas. It's supposed to complement what the market is doing and where the market is functioning. So we need to refocus on areas where there's market failure and on international collaboration, incentivizing research that can deliver the tools that we need to tackle the shared global challenges that also Michael mentioned before. So I think if we come to an understanding of competitiveness in a sense of in the midterm and long term, and also in harmony with the sustainable development goals, and refocusing public resources, taxpayers' money on a public return on investment and filling the market gaps, complementing what the private sector is doing, then I would hope we can see more investments.
Again. Yes. We will finally be optimistic again. So, Lisa, Michael, this has been fascinating to connect two big conferences, around 1,000 people here, around 2,000 people, I understand, in Kigali on the AHAIC, or Africa Health Agenda International Conference. We're going to wrap up this mini conversation by establishing this link, by also reiterating our commitment to working together towards, in particular, improving the EU-Africa relations, but also the joint initiatives for research and innovation. Three main messages here from Brussels is first, the EU could actually refocus its economic approach, like Lisa was saying, and its public policy approach not to follow what the US wants to say, but to prove that Europe does what constitutionally it's supposed to do, to pursue well-being and prosperity for everybody, not also for the EU, but for the rest of the world. Second, there will be a lot of opportunities that the retreat of the US will leave for Europe to fill in and play a leading role around the world. And we expect, and we will push the EU to do this over the coming years. Third, FP10 is where the collaboration might become much more integrated and oriented towards global public goods. So the next cycle, the next budget cycle of the European Commission should not be about only rearming Europe, like Ursula von der Leyen said a couple of days ago, but about really ensuring that Europe becomes again a leader of global public goods. I would say making the world a happy and healthy place again, not make Europe great again, and or Africa great again. Michael, do you have anything to add on your end? Because I think we wrap up, but we look forward to seeing you and continuing the collaboration with you soon.
Just to say that a more highly competitive Europe is a Europe that is very strongly connected to the global community, and is a Europe that goes beyond social responsibility, but really partners in a genuine and equal way with the partners to ensure that the products that are delivered are actually accessed by the people that need them most, both in the global south or in the low and middle income countries and in the high income countries. That is a strong and highly competitive Europe.
Thank you very much. Michael Makanga from Kigali, Lisa Gerlitz and Andrea Renda from Brussels. I'm going to turn the camera to show that here people are starting to gather again in the CEPS Ideas Lab. And from the 1,000 people that gathered here in Brussels to discuss EU and global affairs, to Kigali and AHAIC. Bye, everybody, and see you soon.
See you soon.
Bye, Michael.
Bye-bye.